Hello, my name is Greg Coyote Reno, and this is my testimony in Jesus Christ. It was my life, but it's his testimony. Due to extreme violence from my father and the military, I had PTSD, anxiety disorder, and extreme depression disorder, antisocial disorder, and I lost myself in music and pot to deal with it, and I had a good 11 years from 80 to 91, where I was a master guitarist, contracted out of 2 record labels, playing alternative rock and rock for a living. Had it made. Had a beautiful wife, 3 daughters, 7,100 square foot, 4-bedroom home, land, and when I wasn't playing music, I was rebuilding and refurbishing vintage hot rods and stuff like a hobby. Even though I had the mental disorders, I thought, life couldn't be better. And then I made a fatal mistake introducing this one groupie girl to my wife, who ended up having a homosexual relationship with, lesbian, whatever you want to call it, and for 2 months. And she's Mexican-Italian, and her mother is Spanish from Spain, and ended up busting in the middle of the affair. And my wife ended up leaving me with the 2 kids, with 3 daughters, for about 2 weeks. And this girl kept coming over, and me and my wife have been together since we were 12 years old. Never knew anybody but ourselves, so I actually thought my relationship was over, and I had relations with this girl for like 3 days, and then my wife came back. We figured, well, okay, what do we do now with this girl? And first time, this is in Tombstone, Arizona, and found out she's from Fort Worth, Texas, so took her back home to Fort Worth, Texas, and I paid a year's rent on an apartment for her, turned all the utilities on in my name, phone in my name, and gave her like $3,500 cash to start a new life. But we were smoking pot, getting ready to leave, and she got upset thinking that I was going to be her man. That's why I did it. And was threatened to commit suicide, went in her room. My wife wouldn't go talk to her, so I did. And she had a big old Bowie knife, and I don't know if she was going to come out and attack everybody or what, but when I went to talk to her, she attacked me. Stabbed me once in my thumb joint and in my hand when I blocked it. And when I yelled her to stop, my wife came in and seen what was going on and stabbed her 3 times and killed her. We panicked and ran back to Arizona. I told my wife that, not to worry about it, that when anything came about it, that I would say I did it, as far as I'm concerned. She got down for me. And 1 year later, they came looking for me. And I turned myself in, said I did it in self-defense, staying true to my word to my wife. But because I ran and didn't call the law, left the state, Texas called it murder and not self-defense, gave me 75 years. I had no idea I'd get that much time, but I still stayed true to my word to my wife. I really loved her. And she was free with my 3 daughters. That was all that mattered. Then just 6 months after I got into prison, she got real depressed about me doing time for something she did, and she took her own life, committed suicide, and left me stuck there. And it shattered my whole world. And I didn't know what, I was stupid. I thought I could go on because I had all my money. I was losing myself in books and college courses and craft shop, trying to go on. And back then I was with the Native American religion. I'm half Native American, shamanism and Wicca. And I met a woman my Celly's mom, that he was really using his mother, and I wrote her and told her about it, and I ended up helping her. We became close, and she was a Christian, and she kept trying to tell me about Jesus. And every time she kept trying to tell me about Jesus, I kept trying to tell her about the Native American way. She sent me books on Jesus. I sent her books on the Native American way. And also because I couldn't go back to that house after what my wife did, so I had my CPA and lawyer girl, and gave her full power of attorney, trusting her and my 3 daughters to sell the place and move somewhere else, which they moved to New York and bought a condo apartment, which I'm supposed to get out whenever I parole. And I'm thinking everything's okay, and I'm dealing with things until my 14-year-old daughter, she was 12 when she got there. 2 years after they got there, she got raped and killed in New York. And I figured that was my fault because of my mental disorders. We lived out segregated by ourselves, and shooting them out there in New York like that was just like a culture shock. So that was the second time I got shattered. And then I more or less just don't know why I hang on, only God I hang on. In 2006, I came up for my first time for parole. I was really happy, and I wrote and told everybody. And that's when I found out that my world had been shattered again. I didn't even know it, how 10 years prior, in 1996, these two record companies tried to sue me for breach of contract for not doing any music in the studio. Well, my CPA lawyer girl and two oldest daughters went to court to represent me, didn't say nothing, said that I was in prison on a murder charge, and I didn't want to pursue my music career, and I wanted to sell my royalty rights, composition rights, all out for one lump sum, which they did. And they told me that no more money would be sent, that they were running off, not trying to find, not ever trying to find them, and I couldn't parole there because they were in fear of their life for what they did. And just like that, my life was over. And they said I had a minor stroke, but I believe it was an anxiety attack. I woke up 8 hours later in the infirmary, and that's when I started seriously thinking about God. And that woman, Agapita, kept telling me about Jesus, and I found a tract on the table where it was talking about, I had some very serious trust and betrayal issues now, how Judas had betrayed Jesus, somebody he loved, and I thought about my wife, after if she betrayed me, giving up her life after I did the time for her, and then she also told how Jesus gave his life for, someone he loved, the whole world, and that's basically what I did with my wife, so that's when I started opening up to God and accepted Christ in my life. I thought you had to study to learn it because, I read that where it's, you got to study to show yourself approved. So I started studying every Bible course, college course I could get, reading and studying the Bible, but I couldn't understand why I still had PTSD, anxiety disorder. Couldn't understand why these dudes were saying, hey, God told me this, God told me that, but he didn't talk to me. And the lady at commissary had seen some of my pictures that one of her workers had that I had let him look at, and called me in there and was asking me about my testimony. I told her, she said I need to go to church. And I told her, no, that's where all the homosexuals, the gangs meet. I'm not going there. She said, no, you need to take Alpha and Bridges to Life. They'll help you. She made me a promise that I would. I didn't know she was a Christian. And so I told Mr. Hernandez I would. I went. And that's where I found out about forgiveness. I thought that you couldn't forgive if you couldn't forget. And there's a lot of things I can't forget, still can't forgive, but I've learned to forgive. But once I forgave everybody, I got the Holy Spirit, and everything changed. I got offered a vocational class, 700-hour carpentry class, and then 2 weeks after I finished that class, I got paroled to the FI-18 parole to Carl Vance unit. And one thing, when I was studying my courses, I found out in reading just the Bible and being open about the Bible, and after I got the Holy Spirit, the mental disorder just kind of like disappeared, because all my life I've been like 10, 15 minutes sleeping here and there, that's it. And that night that I received the Holy Spirit, I slept a whole 8 hours. I didn't even realize it. I woke up the next morning and I'm like, man, I went to bed at 8 o'clock, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, I slept all night. And then I started realizing the things that God did. And it really started motivating me to really study the Word more. And I found myself lying, well not lying, but saying the wrong answers to what the Bible said to these courses in order to get an A, because the curriculum said that. And I wanted to look for somebody or something that taught the truth. And that's when I found out about making life changes at the advanced unit. I started going to the class, and these people were teaching the truth exactly how I found. And I got baptized December 24th the first time, and the Sunday keepers told me there was a special occasion because it was Jesus' birthday, but nothing ever happened. And then when I finally opened up and baptized into the West Houston Seventh-day Adventist Church, I knew it was the right thing because everything went wrong. I mean, if you're with God, things, and Satan gets upset. I started getting opposition with finances, and it just like everything went wrong. But I kept believing in God and what I was taught, and it turned out all right. I ended up making parole after 27 flat. And God has been good to me beyond measure out here. He hasn't stopped blessing me. And he's even gave me, there was a point in my life that I thought I'd never find another woman because of my wife. They even come close to her. But God is so awesome that he's given me a woman that's basically made me forget everything that's happened and got hope in the future. And just keep believing and keep praying. As you can see, he did it to me. And that's my story.